The chamber was silent except for the low hum of the projector. Rows of alien dignitaries leaned forward, their varied eyes fixed on the display suspended in the center of the council dome. The feed showed a human world burning. New Carthage, once green and thriving, filled with farms and cities, was reduced to a nightmare. Entire continents were alight. Buildings crumbled as firestorms rolled through them. A domed city ruptured under bombardment, spewing atmosphere into the void. Millions of voices screamed into comms before static swallowed them. When the transmission ended, the dome seemed smaller, suffocated by the weight of silence. Some aliens looked down, ashamed. Others glanced at each other, calculating how this would shift the balance of power. Only the humans did not move. Admiral Helena Vera rose slowly from her seat among Earth's delegation. Her uniform was immaculate, her posture a wall of steel. She let the silence linger a moment longer. 2 million civilians, she said, her voice steady. Children. Farmers. Engineers. Entire families wiped from existence by the Dominion's fleets. You have all seen it. A murmur rippled through the chamber. A reptilian envoy cleared his throat, forcing himself to speak. The Fourth Dominion will answer for this atrocity, Admiral. The Council will convene hearings, sanctions, perhaps. Sanctions? Helena's gaze swept across the chamber. Sanctions will not bring back the dead. A feline delegate raised a paw. But retaliation outside the bounds of the Council will destabilize. Helena's voice cut clean through the air. The Council's laws did not save New Carthage. Your words did not shield our children. The chamber bristled. Some looked offended, others alarmed. A few leaned back, silent, knowing truth when they heard it. She continued. For decades, Earth restrained itself. We honored every treaty, held back our strength, followed your codes of conduct. And yet here we stand, watching cities burn, because civilization demanded our hands stay tied. Another envoy hissed. If humanity abandons restraint, you endanger all of us. Helena leaned forward, her voice dropping low, iron in every syllable. Understand this clearly. We are not abandoning civilization. You abandoned it the moment you allowed genocide to go unanswered. The chamber erupted in arguments, translated voices overlapping in a storm of alien tongues. Helena didn't flinch. She waited until the din burned itself down, then delivered the words that froze the chamber. Earth will no longer be bound by a code that failed to protect us. From this day forward, humanity fights by its own law. The law of survival. The law of consequence. She sat down. Around her, alien delegates whispered with unease. Some looked at Earth's delegation with fear, others with dawning respect. The council speaker finally struck his staff against the floor, calling for order, but order had already dissolved. The meeting adjourned in chaos. Later, in the quiet halls beneath the council dome, Helena walked with Earth's chancellor and the defense committee. Their faces carried the same grim clarity. Do you realize what you've just declared? The chancellor asked. His voice carried no reproach, only gravity. Helena's boots echoed against the polished stone. Yes. And it was necessary. If we sit idle, the Court will strike again. They will take our restraint for weakness, and the galaxy will watch us burn piece by piece. One of the defense ministers, younger and visibly shaken, asked, And if the other species unite against us? If they fear us more than the Court? Helena stopped and faced him. Then let them fear. Fear may be the only thing this council still respects. The committee exchanged uneasy looks. The chancellor gave a single nod. Then it's decided. The fleets will mobilize. All reserves recalled. Earth's arsenals are to be opened. A silence followed. Everyone understood the weight of that order. For generations, much of Earth's most devastating weaponry had been locked away, mothballed under treaties signed in good faith. Those seals were about to break. That night, Helena stood alone in her quarters aboard the UNS Resolute. The chamber was Spartan, a bed, a desk, a wall of hollow displays. She dismissed the tactical reports and called up the footage again, the burning of New Carthage. She forced herself to watch, not looking away when the dome city tore open, not silencing the screams as the fires consumed them. She let it sear itself into memory. Her second-in-command's voice broke the silence, transmitted through her earpiece. "Admiral, preparations are underway. The fleet stands ready for your orders." Helena didn't answer immediately. She watched the last moments of a family huddled together as the sky above them fractured in fire. Only then did she reply. "They think humanity won't go further than words. Tomorrow, we show them what happens when you force us to stop being civilized." She closed the feed. Darkness filled the room. For the first time since the massacre, she allowed herself to close her eyes, not in grief, but in cold resolve. When she opened them again, the world had changed. The hangar deck of the UNS Resolute roared with activity. Engineers swarmed over fighters, plating was welded back into place, and entire missile racks were being loaded by the dozen. The smell of ozone and metal hung in the air. Admiral Helena Vera stood above it all on the command walkway, arms folded behind her back. Below, thousands of men and women worked in silence. There was no shouting, no wasted motion. Every hand moved with grim precision. "Reports from Fleet Command," said her second-in-command, Commodore Rourke, stepping beside her. His uniform was dusted with grease from the floor. "All reserve squadrons are reactivated. Mars and Titan yards have released their mothballed cruisers. Total strength, 172 ships, ready for war." Helena nodded. "And the older stockpiles?" Rourke hesitated. "Being unlocked now. Some of this hardware hasn't seen daylight since the early 21st century. The men call them relics." "Relics," Helena repeated, a faint edge to her voice. "Or reminders. Weapons designed before the galaxy decided to outlaw war. Let them see what we buried and swore never to use." She turned away from the hangar. "Bridge briefing. 10 minutes." The tactical hollow lit up the briefing room. A sprawling map of Dominion-controlled space rotated, systems marked with red. Commanders from across Earth's colonies gathered around, their faces illuminated by the light. Helena spoke with clipped precision. "The Dominion believes our restraint permanent. They believe our laws bind tighter than our will. That assumption will be their undoing. Our objective is not containment. It is demonstration. They must learn that the cost of genocide is annihilation." The room was silent. One of the younger captains finally spoke. "Admiral, if we show them everything, if we fight like this, there's no going back. We become what they fear most." Helena's eyes locked on his. "If we allow them to slaughter our people without consequence, then we are already less than what they fear. Civilization without survival is nothing more than ritual before the grave." No one argued further. Orders were distributed, fleets repositioned, codes transmitted. Far across the stars, in the dark throne chamber of the Dominion, High Regent Scar lounged on a seat of obsidian metal. Reports scrolled across his vision slate in green glyphs. "Human colonies scream for vengeance," one of his advisors hissed, bowing. "Yet they are bound by council law. Their fury will fade. Already we see their diplomats bicker and posture." Scar's scaled lips curled into something like amusement. "Predictable. They talk of honor and restraint, as if words could shield them. They are children playing soldier." Another advisor, more cautious, interjected. "Our scouts report movement. Fleets gathering in Mars orbit. Factories burning at full capacity." The regent waved a claw dismissively. "Bluffs. They rattle their cages to look fierce. The humans cannot afford a war. They are soft-bellied, dependent on trade, bound by treaties, fractured by their council. Press harder, and they will bend." He leaned forward, claws tapping against the armrest. "Send our fleets deeper. We will take another colony. Break their will completely. When they crawl for mercy, we will own their worlds, their labor, their children." The chamber echoed with cruel laughter. Back aboard the Resolute, Helena stood at the viewport of her private quarters. Below her, Earth glowed, a blue marble of oceans and cities, still intact, still unaware of the scale of what was about to be unleashed. Her calm chimed. It was General Ashira from the ground forces. Her dark eyes carried the same heaviness Helena felt in her bones. "The troops are uneasy," Ashira said. "They whisper about what's coming. Some don't like the idea of bringing out weapons that should have stayed sealed." Helena considered the words. "They're uneasy because they still believe war can be fought cleanly. That illusion dies with New Carthage. Our people must learn quickly, we are not fighting for victory alone. We are fighting to ensure there will never be another genocide. To end this war so completely that no one ever dares again." Ashira inclined her head. "Then we prepare them. But they'll need to hear it from you." "I'll speak to them before we depart," Helena said. Hours later, she stood before thousands assembled in the great hangar. Marines in black armor, pilots with helmets tucked beneath their arms, engineers with grease still streaked across their uniforms. Faces young and old, all lifted to her. Her words carried through the amplifiers, steady and unyielding. "You've seen the flames of New Carthage. You know what was taken from us. The Dominion believes humanity will bow, that our restraint is weakness. They think civilization chains us. They think we cannot fight as they do. They are wrong." She let the silence sit, every soldier holding her gaze. "We will not fight as they do. We will fight as only humans can, with precision, with fury, with everything we once swore we would never unleash. They will learn what it means when we stop being civilized. And they will never forget it." The silence broke in a roar of voices. It was not celebration. It was something darker, acceptance and resolve. In the days that followed, fleets rose from Earth and Mars, stretching into the black. War factories worked without pause, orbital docks pouring out warships painted in the matte black of Earth's banner. Across the galaxy, observers watched with unease. Whispered rumors spread through council chambers. Words like kinetic strikes and planet crackers crept back into vocabulary, words thought buried in history. In private, alien envoys admitted their fear. "The humans are unlocking something old," one murmured to another. "Something the rest of us abandoned long ago. If they wield it, the galaxy will never be the same." On the bridge of the Resolute, Helena stood as the stars shifted into streaks with the jump to FTL. Rourke glanced at her, voice low. "They say once we begin this war, there's no turning back. That humanity will never be seen as civilized again." Helena's gaze never left the stars. "Then let them remember us not as civilized, but as survivors. Civilization means nothing if your people are ash." The jump completed. Before them stretched the first Dominion stronghold. And for the first time in centuries, Earth prepared to fight a war without restraint. The Dominion fleet filled the stars, a wall of crimson warships bristling with weapons. Their formation was confident, almost relaxed, as though they awaited prey too weak to matter. From the bridge of the UNS Resolute, Admiral Helena Vera studied the display with cold precision. 172 human vessels stood against more than double their number. To the Council, it looked suicidal. To her, it was opportunity. "Comms?" she asked. "Dominion Broadcasting," Rourke replied, adjusting the channel. The guttural voice of Regent Scar filled the bridge. "Humans! You were warned. Surrender your colonies, yield your fleets, and your extinction will be delayed. Resist, and we will scour Earth itself." Helena gave a slight gesture to cut the channel. "Signal the fleet. Execute Iron Spear." The void erupted. Human ships moved with terrifying discipline. Old doctrines, refined through centuries of simulations, came alive. Swarms of drone frigates launched in synchronized arcs, weaving walls of interference. Kinetic lances, rods of dense alloy hurled at relativistic speed, cut through Dominion cruisers before their shields registered the threat. On the enemy flagship, Regent Scar jolted from his throne. What weapons are these? They were banned centuries ago." His advisors panicked. "Their strikes ignore energy shielding. Our hulls, our cities, none of it will hold." But Helena wasn't finished. "Deploy the swarm," she ordered. Hundreds of micro-AI craft scattered like glittering dust, infiltrating Dominion systems. One by one, enemy ships faltered, fire control failing, engines sputtering. Target their command carriers, Helena said, her tone flat. On screen, 3 Dominion flagships vanished in blinding detonations. The battlefield tilted. Rourke turned to her, voice low. They're breaking. Requesting mercy. Helena's jaw tightened. Mercy was burned with New Carthage. Orders flew. Human gunners showed no hesitation. Dominion vessels that powered down were struck anyway, ripped apart by kinetic fire or swallowed in antimatter detonations. On the ground below, a Dominion staging world bristled with defenses. Helena gave the signal. A silence fell as massive rods were released from orbit. They streaked down like falling stars, each strike flattening square kilometers. Mountains split open, cities vanished in seconds, shockwaves rolling for miles. On the bridge, no one cheered. They simply watched. Collateral estimates? Rourke asked quietly. Helena's eyes stayed on the devastation. Irrelevant. This is consequence. Far below, Regent Scar's last fortress cracked under the bombardment. The High Regent screamed at his attendants. Transmit surrender! Stop them! We yield! But no channel reached the humans in time. The fortress vanished in fire. When the silence of victory finally settled, the Resolute's bridge was heavy with the weight of what they had unleashed. Smoke and sparks drifted from damaged consoles. Officers sat pale, exhausted yet steady. They're finished, Rourke said softly. Helena stood straight, hands clasped behind her back. No. They are reminded. There's a difference. A transmission from Earth's Council arrived, voices overlapping with shock. Admiral, the galaxy has seen your demonstration. Every species watches. They call this barbarism. They call you monsters. Helena faced the holofeed. Her voice was calm, unyielding. Let them call us what they wish. They will never call us victims again. Days later, she returned to Geneva for the Council Assembly. The chamber was packed, every species envoy present, their expressions ranging from awe to dread. The speaker demanded explanation. Admiral Vera, Earth has shattered the rules we built to prevent wars like this. Do you deny it? Helena's reply was simple. I deny nothing. The Dominion chose genocide. We answered. If civilization means watching our people burn, then civilization is worthless. Gasps rippled through the chamber. She stepped closer to the central platform, her words carrying with razor clarity. Remember this well, humanity restrained itself because we believed restraint protected all of us. New Carthage proved otherwise. From this moment forward, if any power seeks to erase us, we will not plead. We will not wait. We will make an example. As we just did. The chamber fell into silence. No delegate dared interrupt. That night, Helena returned to her quarters. For the first time since the war began, she allowed the footage of New Carthage to fade from her screens. The vengeance was complete, but there was no satisfaction, no triumph, only a hollow calm. Her reflection in the glass was tired, the steel in her eyes harder than before. Rourke's voice came softly over the calm. The soldiers ask what we call this war, Admiral. What name to mark it in history? Helena thought for a long moment, watching the stars beyond. Call it the war that ended mercy, she said at last. And in the silence that followed, Earth's fleets drifted in victorious orbit, respected, feared, and forever changed.